You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast. You can find this channel on Twitter, Gab.ai, BitChute, and Minds.com. This is a Real American Patriot channel for Real American Patriot. If you're not a Real American Patriot, please exit the channel. Furthermore, we are not sponsored by any outside interference. That means we're unscripted, unrehearsed, and unedited. With that being said, transmission will commence momentarily.
How you guys doing? This is the Highly Evolved Podcast. I thank you for listening. And I don't know, let's start the show. In this episode, I want to talk about what's going on with civil rights, all right? If you don't know, there's a FBI tape or informant by a credible source. It's by a guy, I forgot what his name, by a guy who wrote the definitive biography on MLK, all right? He recently found an audio tape by the FBI indicating that Dr. King was involved with rape, sexual promiscuity, laughing inappropriate manners, right? There's an audio tape saying that from the FBI file. The thing is, this FBI file is not, it won't be declassified till 2027. That's the one that's going to be out. But right now, there's a tape. There's a rumor circulating there. There's this tape, right, that was admitted by this guy who wrote a biography of Dr. King. Right, and this guy's very credible. And he said there's a tape out there that said Dr. King was participating in this promiscuous activity. All right. Now, what I find striking about this is that it's going to hurt his reputation, but I think it's going to hurt the liberal media more, because what do the liberal media consider Dr. King? Right? They consider him the champion of discriminations, civil rights, right? They like to use Dr. King in their favors. If you know about the Democratic Liberal Party, they like to exploit Dr. King's, even though Dr. King was a Republican, right? But to go on to a deeper note, I'm about to warn you, we're going deep down the rabbit hole right now, right? There's you know, when they released the JFK paper, like last year, Donald Trump approved the release of the JFK paper, right? When they released the JFK paper, they snuck a little bit of Dr. King paperwork in as well, right? The rumor is they snuck that on purpose, try to release this information not only on JFK, but Dr. King. They're slowly coming it out. And now with the advent of this audio tape that shows that Dr. King was involved in some rape cases and some sexual promiscuity, right? Now it's all starting to unfold. Now we're going deep down the rabbit holes now, right? Allegedly, right? Dr. King was a Monarch acid, MK Ultra acid, right? The reason why he was a MK Ultra acid because the CIA at that time tried to push civil rights movement, right? So they used Dr. King as a front man for this civil rights movement. All right. Now, when you look at the 60s, that's the advent of the Manchurian Candidate, the MK Ultra program, Project Blue Book, Project Bluebird, right? All these code names is all for Monarch Child is a code name for MK Ultra, which is mind manipulation. Now, what Dr. King is, they say he have a handler, right? Now, I don't know who his handler. I presume it might be Jesse Jackson. Right, because there's a story out there that Jesse Jackson was the one who got, allegedly, they got Dr. King assassinated, right? Because at that time when he got shot in the balcony, right? Jesse Jackson was telling Dr. King to come look outside. You have to look at this crowd, right? Now the thing is, I think everybody was wearing a tie, or everybody wasn't wearing a tie, and Dr. King was the only one that wore a tie, or something like that. So the assassin, that was his cue to shoot, right? So somebody told the assassin, the patsy, right, the assassin, to shoot for the guy who was wearing the tie. So everybody else know it was an inside job. Everybody know Dr. King was going to go out that time. So they all take out their tie, or without, I don't know, with or without tie, right? So that was the cue to shoot, to assassinate Dr. King, right? So in actual, the rumor is that Dr. King was an MK Ultra acid. We're going down deep the rabbit hole right now, right? Dr. King, the thing is, when people say Dr. King, who was madly in love with a white woman, right? But because of his because of the movement, the civil rights movement, they couldn't let him get with a white woman because it disrupt the movement. Right, so what they did is they assigned Dr. King with Coretta Scott King, but he was devastated. In actuality, he really wanted to be with a white woman. He fell in love with this white woman, right? And not only that, but one thing that make this story with the sex tape more prevalent is that Dr. King was known as, all right, when he was with his friend used to rape a lot of women, right? Rape a lot of women, especially white women, right? And what they called themselves was the wrecking crew. Because when they get done with the women, they wreck the women. That's what they call themselves, right? I know it's hard to understand. I know it might be crass. Right? I know it might be harsh to understand, but you got an open mind. This is MK Ultra here, right? Dr. King was an MK Ultra asset. He have a handler, all right? MK Ultra was at its infancy at that time. So they was pushing this narrative of civil rights. All right, now when you ask the old school, the old cat, the OG back in the days about what they're feeling on Dr. King's, most of them they don't have a very positive image of Dr. King at all. All right, they don't really have a positive because they were living that time. Now when you ask some of them, they have their own feeling about the civil rights movement. Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Some of them said that it was a bad thing because now, when you look at the black community, is not the same way that it was back in the 1950s. Sure, it was Jim Crow law, right? But then again, they were much successful. They have morality. They have more freer at that time, right? The African American community or the black community, they were unison. They were entrepreneur. They were ruling class mentality, all right. Sure, there was segregation, but they have their own upper class. All right. Look at for example, Black Wall Street, right? That's before the segregation movement, until the CIA bombed it, right, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. But I digress on that issue. But when you ask about the OG, right, the people who actually lived that time, they were more favorable living during segregation than they are living after segregation, because a lot of them resent the fact that we integrated our school system because it just deteriorated the black community at all. But some people, most of them, and some of them, the OG really don't align themselves with Dr. King at all. So back in the days, not everybody agreed with Dr. King. Not everybody liked him, right? They think he was a disruptor. All right. So the reason why people have this image of Dr. King was a good guy, he's doing a noble thing, right, is because the media at that time was projecting this stuff. Now how you learn about Dr. King, right? Because the TV been pushing this, liberal media been pushing this, that, and that. All right. Now the reason why they have this tape out of Dr. King doing all these activity is because during that time, what's his name? J. Edgar Hoover believed Dr. King was not a good thing. He was not being genuine. So he commissioned this investigation from the FBI. So now this tape is out there. Who was founded by Dr. King biographer, and he's a very credible guy. He's a liberal guy too. All right, he's not only a liberal guy. The guy who found the tape, he was a Bernie supporter. Right, he described himself as democratic socialist. Right. And he was coming out with this, saying Dr. King was participating in this sexual promiscuity, all right. And right now, I don't know how the black community, maybe it just shattered their light that this person that they've been admiring this whole time wasn't the guy that they expected to be. Because when you look at the generation right now, they never experienced Dr. King firsthand. They only hear word of mouth. Right? They only hear snippets, but they never go out there and was with him or have a personal experience with him. So how would they know that he's actually what they are, that they're projecting on TV? Because remember, fake news also exists back in that time. Right? That was the advent of TV. That's what TV was very prominent at that time, the 1960s, right? And how do you know that the news anchor back in that time was in the propaganda machines? All right, it's just, like it's now, you just can't take any video as real news anymore. All right. So what you learn in school and the stuff that they taught you in elementary school, middle school, how do you know those are factual evidence? All right. How do you know? For all you know, they're just pushing this narrative onto you, and you expect to take it from this textbook. Now, one thing that people don't understand about textbook, who gave textbook the credibility? Why do we give so much credibility to the textbook? Why is that? Who to say that the thing that they printed out in textbook is a factual thing? Who to say the thing that they printed out in textbook have their own narrative? Who to say that textbook don't have their own saying this? Who to say that textbook aren't manipulated? All right, you just can't trust this. Now you don't know who to trust anymore. All right, we're going deep down the rabbit holes here. All right, going deep down the rabbit holes. Right, just to recap. Right, the thing is when we deep down to the rabbit hole of the Dr. King, There's a lot of people that live during that time think Dr. King is this very sketchy person, right? And review again, Dr. King have rumors. People have been rumors that he's been participating in promiscuous activity. Right? He have a group called the Wrecking Crew. When they're done raping people, they call themselves the Wrecking Crew. That's why they call the Wrecking Crew, right? Look it up. You guys can look it up. Right? There's been stories and examples. You have to look it up, guys. Don't just take my word for it. Ask questions, right? And you gotta wonder, like, okay, this thing people been knowing about this, right? Now there's a rumor that's a tape been surfing that confirmed this activity, because this was all allegation. This was all alleged, right? Now there's a tape that's proving this. Right? Now it's going to shadow a lot of people's illusion. How are people going to react to this? Right? And going back on my last point is that the most people that are going to affect the most is the liberal media, because the liberal media during the whole time, they were pushing Dr. King a lot, right? As this plateau, as this figurine, that to show them, because of the liberal media, we gave you Dr. King, right? Now they can't backtrack at it. That's now this is why you don't see anything about it in mainstream media, NBC, CBS, all that stuff. How come they're not on mainstream media right now? Right? Because Dr. King is the trophy they use as an example of a liberal accomplishment. They use him as a prop. That's what it is. Right? And yeah, as a prop. And when during his assassination, they feel like they don't need him no more. That's why they took him out, because he was because what Dr. King is, he's a lot of risk. He knows too much. That's why that's a rumor. That's why they had to take him out by the Patsy gunman. All right, and the Patsy gunman's probably MK Ultra as well. All right, MK Ultra is a really big thing in the 50s, 60s. All right, so he have a handler. Dr. King have handler. All right. But that's one thing that's coming out. But it's gonna be tough to be black, I guess. It's gonna be tougher now, because at this figure now there's a lot of schools named after Dr. King. If this thing comes out to be proven right, there's a lot of school named after Dr. King. There's a lot of street named Dr. King. There's a lot of things that's named after Dr. King. So if this was come out to be factual, right, what's going to happen? Would it have to revert the name? Retrofit the name to something else? Or what? But that's what you guys need to understand. That's one thing you guys need to know. That's what they're not telling you, right? I'm filling you guys information. All you guys have to do is ask questions and look for your answer yourself. All right? But that's what I want to talk about. That Dr. King name might be tarnished if this thing proven to come, if the audio tape was to be true, right? The reason why it's so much credibility, because the guy who found the audio tape and say that it exists, he's the main biographer of the Dr. King's biography. He was the top honcho to talk to if you want to know about Dr. King. Now this audio tape is going to come out. All right, so it's very credulous, because this guy, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning author, right? This socialist Democrat, all right? How would Bernie Sanders react to this, to know Dr. King wasn't the guy he think he is, all right? But Dr. King, to find out that Dr. King was an MK Ultra asset, to find out Dr. King was actually a pawn, was used by the CIA, all right? Because during that time, the FBI and the CIA was two different things. They were decentralized. They don't have to share information with each other at all. All right, so the CIA was doing their thing and the FBI was doing their thing, so they can't share the same kind of information. That's why it's so hard to get corroboration within each agency. All right, but let me know you agree, because of the thing I'm saying, right? The thing that I'm saying, YouTube don't want to monetize my channel, all right? Because I'm unscripted, unedited, and uncensored, unrehearsed, all right? Because of that, I'm not taking any donations. The purpose of this channel is to make people ask questions and look up for their answer themselves, all right? But if you do me one solid, subscribe to my channel, because when you subscribe, it encourages me to make more videos like this, to enlighten more people, make people ask more questions, because that's the purpose of this channel, to make people ask questions and look for the answer themselves. All right, you can find me in Minds.com and BitChute, because they're trying to censor me right now for what I'm saying. Right, this is a way for me to circumvent them. And you can find me on Twitter and JR.AI. I'll release new videos, information out on a daily basis. So let me know what you think. You think what I'm saying is very credible? You think the story you think what's coming now about Dr. King can ruin his image? Who's gonna benefit this most? Who's gonna be disadvantaged with this the most? Right? Let me know you agree. I know your time is precious, and I try not to waste your time. I thank you for listening. This is the Highly Evolved Podcast. My name is Stefan, and I don't know, guys. I'm checking out. Peace.